all of a sudden, it was like all kinds of crates and bottles and plastic. To me, that was the first definitive sign that I was coming into changes. I'm gonna see something. The sun rose. It was like, pff, there's an island in front of me. I couldn't have been more than 10 miles out. To see the green of the island was like, oh, it was such a, it was intense.
But to his horror, Steve realizes that the island is an impregnable fortress of vertical cliffs and razor-sharp coral reefs.
Oh my God, I've come all this way, and there's no way I can make a landing.
After enduring so much for so long, Steve can't let salvation slip away from him at the final hurdle.
This voyage is ending today. No question about it. One way or the other, this is going to come to an end. That's great. Somebody's actually, I couldn't believe somebody was actually out there.
On the morning of his 76th day adrift, Steve is spotted by some local fishermen.
He said something to the effect of like, "What you doing out here, man?" You know, it's like, well, I'm not out here, you know, improving my suntan. My senses were like plugged into an electric circuit somehow. They were all amplified so that every color was like really, really vibrant and every smell was really, really intense. It just was like heart-wrenching. It was so beautiful to me.
Having endured 76 days in his tiny raft, Steve's leg muscles have atrophied and he weighs just 100 pounds. After 6 weeks in the hospital, Steve is reunited with the parents he thought he'd never see again. The small island of Marie-Galante, where he's found, is just 60 miles south of his original destination, Antigua.
There's nothing noble in me having survived. It's just what I did. I had too much unfinished business, and I think that kept me alive to a large degree.
Hello?
At that point, pretty soon thereafter, I started regularly yelling.
Hello?
I wanted to hear someone's voice.
Hello? 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 Hey!
All of a sudden, I heard someone yelling back, and someone answered. And that is a wonderful, wonderful sound. That is the best sound ever.
After nearly 19 hours fighting to survive, Tommy and Larry's ordeal is over.
I felt like I could, just let myself go and, surrender to the pains because I no longer really had to do anything. I was done with my night in the woods.
This here.
So I knew that we were going to make it at that point. We're basically saved. It was just the best thing ever.
Larry and Tommy are saved by a ground-based rescue team working independently from the helicopter crew. The team was dispatched from Durango the minute the plane had been reported missing. The rescuers were guided by the coordinates Justin had given them and followed his tracks in the snow. Under a mile away, Justin and the helicopter crew had survived their crash. The helicopter's main rotor had hit a tree, and it had fallen 70 feet to the ground. But all 8 passengers made it out completely unscathed. Larry and Tommy were airlifted to the hospital in Durango. They were reunited with Justin later that day. None of the 3 friends had any lasting injuries from the crash.
Any time that you crash an airplane out of the sky and walk away from it, there is some amount of luck involved.
A lot of that luck broke because of the common sense decisions that were made by those 2 guys. I would not be here if it weren't for them, no question.
It wouldn't have taken much for me to have killed Tommy and Larry.
Joey, somebody?
Pepe turns around and yells at me, "Did you see that boat?" He was very excited. I didn't think there was a boat. I thought he was hallucinating. All of a sudden, I'm alone.
Joe and Pepe are finally saved by 2 Mexican fishermen.
It was exhilarating to see this boat. Thank God this is over. I was relieved, like a big burden had been lifted off my shoulder.
That afternoon, Joe's wife, Margaret, gets a call from her son.
He says, they found Dad. He walked out this morning. The fisherman picked him up. He's okay. I mean, I was elated, but at the same time, I just knew that there was more wrong. He told me that Lorenzo has passed away. And I says, oh my God.
Seeing my wife, my son, my daughter, all of them, it was great. I just felt bad that Lorenzo wasn't there to share it.
I heard voices yelling. and all of a sudden this man appears out of the jungle.
Are you all right? Over here! Over here! You're safe now.
An army of Red Cross volunteers has been combing the area for 24 hours and has finally found the crash site.
I just started crying, and it was the most emotional period. I couldn't believe it.
What was that?
For the others, believing they're lost forever, a miraculous stroke of luck saves their lives.
Just like in Indiana Jones, the guy comes through the fields and he has a machete and a backpack.
Against all odds, a local farmer and member of the search team literally stumbles upon them.
It was the most incredible feeling I've ever had. It was just pure joy.
Oye, este es Marvin.
It was complete elation. I remember sitting down and thinking, this is unbelievable.
Rescued from the Costa Rican jungle, Silke, Alvaro, and Michael made a full recovery.
I think it was just luck that I survived. I have a beautiful family. I have 2 beautiful sons. When things get tough, hey, you're just lucky you're here.
Brandon and Brandy's injuries healed, and they returned to America. They're still happily married and have 2 young children.
You can't go through something like that and not be closer. I was with my husband. He was my family, and he was right next to me, taking care of me.
I hear this plane, and he's at, he's above me. This guy is, almost at my sight. And so I got my fishing pole with my stuff sack on, and I'm waving it.
I'm here.
And then he goes by, and I wasn't sure he saw me.
Over here.
So then he turns around, he comes like right toward me again. Wave my bag. And he does the wing dip, like you see on Star Wars and that. And I just thought that was the best thing that wrapped it right there.
After nearly a week, trapped alone on a small rock ledge, Charlie Hench is finally found. Following a gut instinct, his friend Dave decided to search the far side of the mountain pass, close to where his brother was lost, one last time.
Well, it was pretty amazing. I mean, I guess Charlie could be described as a needle, and the mountain's a haystack, and I did find that needle in a haystack. I've actually been to the ledge where he was stuck, and I've been there during the summer. And it's a pretty scary place. Charlie could have been killed. My experience in that whole thing is that it turned out good. I mean, Charlie and I have quite a bond that we wouldn't have had before, and that's something pretty special.
When we got the call that they found Charlie, I mean, it was pure just elation. We both just fell apart, and you could just hear it in his voice that it was pretty traumatic. So I was just very thankful. He's a survivor. That's just, you know, he's a tough guy.
Charlie received emergency treatment for his broken wrist, lower spine, and head injuries. And when he returned home, was welcomed like a hero.
I finally got back to town and saw Julie. I was just thrilled. She's a big part of my life. And I was just very happy to see her.
And suddenly, amongst all this despair, this confusion, this feeling of being trapped in this prison, a sight that will always stay with me. I saw this cut branch. The cut itself was blackened, so it had been cut some time ago, but had been cut by a human. And I realised there was actually quite a few of these branches. This was actually the edge of the outside world. I started investigating, and there was a trail. And then extraordinary thing of just seeing daylight, and it's still emotional to me, just this reconnection with the outside world. Thing I've been looking forward to, praying for, imagining, was suddenly there, and it was absolutely overwhelming. And I found myself in the back of a garden. There, ahead of me, was a little hut, and there was a little man in front. And he was just standing there with a look, not of welcome, but of horror. And that was my last memory.
Having recognized the symptoms of malaria, the farmer nursed Benedict for 3 days before he was driven to a hospital in Macapá, where he made a full recovery. Benedict returned home to be reunited with his parents 1 week later.
My life was never the same again.
And Benedict has been exploring the world ever since, fulfilling his dreams of becoming a renowned adventurer, just like his father.
I've been going off to the jungle, going off to the desert, going off to the Arctic, pushing myself to the limit, trying to touch that experience that I had that was so profound. That has always haunted me, and it's something that'll always be with me, and it's steered the rest of my life.
I see this boat on the horizon.
The family's emergency beacon had led the plane to the reef. But unable to land, the crew alerted local fishermen on a nearby island. "15 hours after their boat was shipwrecked, their ordeal is finally over."
That was when I finally let go. I just grabbed Ben and I held him and I cried. I can't even tell you the feeling of elation.
I was just relieved, like I just dropped a huge bag or something.
We're actually going to get out of this situation. John's gonna make it.
The fishermen take the family to a nearby island, where they're evacuated by a medical rescue team and flown to Tahiti. After 8 hours of surgery, John's life was saved. But he lost his left leg below the knee.
How was it to lose a leg? I honestly can tell you, it bothered me not. When I regained consciousness, everything was new to me. Everything was spectacular to me.
I'm so proud of my children. I thought Ben was a 16-year-old immature boy, and he turned into a man in an instant.
Well, a lot of people use the word like hero and stuff like that about me. It doesn't really seem right. I just did all that stuff just because it needed to be done.
I see my wife and I see my kids through an entirely different lens. And I understand exactly how magnificent that they really are.
We would have survived an 8th day. Pretty bloody sure of it, actually.
Then, just when all hope is lost, they come across a track. It's where the car must have driven past them the night before.
I was not going to leave the track. We're following it in the hope that this vehicle would come back or another vehicle had come through.
But Shannon can go no further.
Shannon wasn't saying much at all. Yeah, very, very quiet. I'd speak to her and she'd just shake her head or nod her head up and down, but she wouldn't speak, so disheartening.
Exposed to the scorching desert sun, Matthew needs to protect his dying child from the unbearable heat.
It was boiling. The heat had risen big time. It was hotter than the last few days. And I knew that I needed to get Shannon into the shade. So I dug a hole in the ground so that I could put Shannon in it and then cover her back over. And that would keep her a bit cooler than sitting out in the open.
But in this remote part of the outback, there's no guarantee they'll see another car for days, even weeks. Matthew knows he may have just dug his daughter's grave.
I was extremely sad because I'd brought my daughter out into this wilderness and that I'd put her life in danger.
After 8 days, battling to keep himself and his daughter alive, Matthew finally gives up.
It was just like, it's hopeless. There's nobody here, nobody can see us, nobody will see us. We were going to actually die of thirst, a slow, agonising death.
Dad rushing back over and waking me up and saying that we'd been found.
After 8 days in the outback, their ordeal is finally over.
I felt an enormous weight lift off my shoulders. I felt fantastic.
I still remember the car pulling up and this little girl coming out and me just crying and crying and putting her in my arms. And she said, I know why you're crying, Mum, because you're happy to see me. And I was, yeah.
Doctors estimate that when Shannon was found, she had just a few hours to live.
Yeah, I'd say it's a miracle.
Despite their ordeal, Matthew and Shannon are still close and still go camping together.
Dad probably takes more supplies now and we don't go as far, but it doesn't really change the fact that we still go camping.
I think there was a stronger bond as a result, although the next time we went camping, I wanted to go down this track and she said, don't you dare, Dad, you stick to this one. So, you know.